I have been asked about, following my video on squatting and the health benefits, or the sort of the natural order of things, if you like. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. I've been asked to if I would show or talk about what I think is the best way of squatting, or the best way to do a squat. Now, I'm not a personal trainer, and I am sure that there are lots of people out there who will be able to give you chapter and verse the absolute thing that you need to do in order to know how to squat. And I'm not one of them. So I'm not talking about the action of squatting being, the sort of the getting down there or loading a squat or any of those things. I'm talking about the fact that as humans, we at one point squatted naturally, and then at some stage we stopped squatting naturally. So from my perspective, if people can get into a squat, then there are a dozen ways of getting into that and a dozen ways of getting out. And almost the starting point for most people, if you can't squat, is can you get down to squat? So if I just move this back a little bit, if I'm standing here and I'm not in a position where I can squat very well, I'll move my camera up a bit. There we go. If I can't squat, then there's not much point me sort of trying to teach somebody how to get down into a squat and do it. But the bottom line is that you've got to do it in a way that's safe, and you've got to do it in a way that's comfortable. And for some people, that might well be let's just get ourselves down here in the first place. Bring that down here a little bit, and get ourselves down here in the first place. And from here, you want to use a chair or something. You might want to use something to get us down into our squat, and our heels might be sort of way up and not flat on the floor, and then we'll use something to help us up again. So I'm not going to judge anybody for what the capacity, what their capacity is as far as that's concerned. So really, it's just a case of what can you do, and how can you do it, and how often can you do it, and and doing something regularly is better than doing nothing regularly. The perspective that I'm talking about here is can one get one's heels down into this position and squat from there. Now, if you can, there's all kinds of things that people can do in terms of loosening up their back. And I always sort of say to people to imagine that you've got a pencil pointing down from somewhere, wherever it is, I don't mind, that's entirely up to you, and that you're trying to draw a figure of 8 with that pencil, where it's protruding, shall we say. So again, that's going to start to introduce movement. It's going to help people that maybe are a little bit constipated, if they can get down here in the first place. And of course, a lot of people may be too far gone with that. So where do we start? Well, we're going to start here. So it's just start to get into a position where we're moving our knees and bending our knees, or maybe it's a thing to get down and up again. So yeah, one piece of kit that I really do like, and I think it's something that will help a lot of people to start to mobilize and get movement where perhaps they haven't done for a little while, in terms of making sure they are confident and safe, is this thing. And it looks like some kind of trapeze ropage, but it is actually just something called a suspension trainer. Now, there's some proprietary brands that are very expensive that are suspension trainers, but essentially I haven't bought one of those things ever, and this is just a sort of I think it's Maxi Muscle. That cost me 20 quid or 12 quid from Argos when they were on special. So suspension trainer, they're all on Amazon. And there's lots of things you can do with this. You can sort of suspend this from a hook from the ceiling if you have one, but of course most people don't have a hook in the ceiling. And so what they're going to do is they're going to stick it over the door, and I'll show you how that works. So I'm going to take the suspension trainer. In this instance, there's various different designs of it, but this one comes with this this sort of little thing that goes over a door. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to open the door, and I'm going to put it on the side of a door that closes towards me. And if it doesn't close towards you, if you haven't got a door that you can get on the other side, if the door's always going to open towards you, then make sure that the knobbly bit goes towards the end where the hinge is, so that it's a little bit safer. You don't want somebody open the door or putting strain onto where the key is. That's if the door's sort of opening towards you. But this is the door is sort of opening away from me, so I can happily go into the middle of this. And the thing about this now is that I'm distributing my load through the door here. So again, I can just stand on this here like this. I can have it over my shoulder, and I can make these little moves, or I can lean back on it. Here we go, like this. There we go. I can just lean, and I can keep it straight back, and I can use my upper body to give me stabilization as I go into any movements through there. So that's a suspension trainer. It's a really, really useful bit of kit. There's pretty much everything you can imagine as far as the gym is concerned, that you can do in a gym, you can do with a suspension trainer for 25 quid or what have you. And there's lots of exercises online. There aren't a brilliant number of exercises for older people online. So I might see who I can work with. I'm not going to be qualified to do that, but I certainly, for people that may be a little bit stiff, and we can start to introduce some movement, and it's the upper body that's giving stability. You've always got something to pull yourself up. But like I said, the main emphasis here is on actually doing something rather than necessarily the style or the quality of it, and making sure that somebody's doing something regularly and often enough to make a difference. It's the regularity. Doing something little and often is the key, rather than necessarily trying to do something once a week perfectly. And of course, if anybody is a little bit more unstable, then we want to make sure that they are that somebody's around them, or they're being helped when they're doing any stuff like this. So there you go. I can't show you how to do a squat, but I can show you, some things that I've picked up over the years that certainly help.